to be clear, when we looked at soccer, there is still a national disagreement about where soccer should be placed. Ultimately, whether it qualifies as either a high risk or a medium risk sport, we have moved it to the medium risk category, consistent with the rest of the state of Maryland. However, there are some important things that we want to make clear about this allowance for soccer to proceed. First off, all sports are still governed by the requirement for wearing face coverings as laid out underneath the executive order. There are a few exceptions that are listed underneath the executive order for face coverings as it relates to sporting, and those are essentially where wearing a face covering presents a serious risk to someone's health, a bona fide risk to someone's health. And those are, few and far between in terms of allowances, medical allowances for the use of not wearing face coverings. But otherwise, face coverings are required while sports are being played. They're required on the sidelines. They're required by those spectating as well. As it relates to spectators, sports cannot have spectators except for the parents or guardians of minor children, as sort of laid out in the governor's executive order. They are not permitted to have other spectators outside of the guardians or immediate family of the person who's playing, and those in the case of the minor children. As it relates to both to any outdoor sporting activity, soccer included, they are governed by the outdoor gathering limitations, which are 50 persons, and that is inclusive of the participants, the coaching staff, and the fans, and those have to be regulated as well. And so I do know that there are, commonly within soccer, there are multiple games going on within the same fielding space. In order for those to be permitted under the gathering limitations, they have to be physically separated from one another in such a way that you cannot have intermingling of those groups of 50. And so we are happy to work with organizations that are attempting to hold those games and exactly how those can proceed. Overall, I think that sort of covers where we're at. The one last thing I do want to note is no traveling games with the exception of the state of Maryland, Virginia, and the district. So anyone outside of those three areas cannot come in to play a sport. There have been some inquiries as it relates to certain, particularly the professional sporting and other things like that. And we'll work with, we do have a process to get approval for things that go beyond that. However, that process is handled on a case-by-case basis. There is a portal on our reopening website that allows for those letters of approval to be submitted. We do basically look for offsets in safety measures for organizations that are trying to get an exception for travel or for the participant numbers. And it's not just simply you ask and we give. It is we're looking for how you can make your event more safe that would allow us to consider those kinds of approvals.